Good morning. Hello. How is everyone? Today is day 3 of the 5-day weight loss challenge. I am so excited to share today's with you. But first, I wanted to hear from some of you about how you went with your challenge yesterday, how you went with the little bit of homework you had. So, what we were working on is noticing how much protein we're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and trying to ensure that we brought at least a palm size of protein into our meals. So I'm not sure how you feel like you went with that. I did get quite a few DMs yesterday. There is the chat if you want to chat in that, and some of the ladies are chatting inside the group chat attached to the girls, the weight loss chat. What also may have come up for some people was writing down what they were eating. Here's the thing that I just wanted to make clear. It can feel really confronting, and there's, I guess, different ways that we can look at this. One of them is that, and what I was getting DMs about was that feeling of tracking, that feeling of having to write down what you eat, feeling very confrontational. So, this is the way I look at it. When we have an awareness about something, when you can see your behavior and your thoughts, and you have an understanding of your hunger cues and all that sort of stuff, it gives us an opportunity to work with that. But when we're in full avoidance, like we don't want to know, we don't want to look at it, we don't want to understand it, nothing like that, then it's harder to be able to make changes. So it's for me personally, like when I'm working with a client, it's probably the best way to describe it. When I'm working with a client and the client doesn't want to look at that food, that's okay. We can work around, because I don't make anyone do anything they don't want to do. I don't work with clients and say, hey, you've got to track all your food, because my clients don't track food. But what I do like to do is get a really good scope of what the day looks like. So what my clients do is a lot more detailed than what you ladies did yesterday. And what we actually look at is, what are your hunger cues before and after eating? What are your bowels like? It might sound weird, but it makes a difference, because if you are not going to the toilet regularly, that's actually telling us something, because we can't necessarily see unless we run off and go get a whole heap of tests. We can't see what's going on the inside. So being able to know what's happening as the food comes out, as our waste comes out, that gives us an insight, and that really helps us. The other thing is to be able to connect our energy levels, our moods, our emotions to the food we're eating is really powerful. It's very helpful, because a lot of times we don't make those connections. And as I was talking about yesterday, when you're having certain foods that don't suit you, so I use some examples, and those things you might not notice any reactions or disturbances from those foods. But in a lot of cases, once we have an understanding of our food and what's happening with our body with the food, we start to see and get a bit more of a clear indicator of what is upsetting our stomachs, or what is making us have those big energy spikes and then big crashes after, when we can tee it up and connect to where it's coming from. So what I hear from women when they start working with me is they'll talk about how they have bloating and gas and cramping, or they might get diarrhea or constipation. These are things we can address when I have an understanding of what you're eating. And I never ever tell my clients what to eat. I never ever say, you can't eat that, ever. I don't believe in that. That's a diet. I think if we have an understanding of what we're eating, and if there's suggestions out there, and if you're trying different things, that works. But it's always, in my opinion, and the way I coach is, if you feel like you have different options rather than a diet, you never feel restricted. And one thing I don't think anyone should ever feel is hungry. That's a primal thing, is for us to eat. So if we take that away, that's going to really impact us. And that's what we're talking about with the nervous system, is if we feel restricted, our body can go into panic. We don't want that. Or stress. We definitely don't want that. I think what's happened is for some of you, as you were kind of looking at what you were eating in the day, you had quite a lot of aha moments. I know that because I got some DMs that were definitely saying that, and the group chat, there was a bit of conversation about it. Awareness is amazing because it gives us the opportunity to be able to have a clearer picture of what's going on. The next step is the knowledge and then making the right changes that are uniquely going to suit you. And that's what's really important. All right, I'm just going to double check that I can see any chats. Let's keep the conversation going about how the food you're eating is making you feel. If you can be noticing how the food that you're eating is making you feel a certain way. Okay, it looks like everything's going. So I'm excited about chatting to you about today's area of weight loss. I think you're going to be really blown away in today's session. Okay. This is where I start to really hopefully show you even more how food is not the only problem, that there is so much more to this than just food. Okay, so today's day 3, nervous system and emotional eating. And if you're happy to share how the protein went yesterday and what you noticed and what came up for you, and did you enjoy it? Did you notice a difference in your energy? I'd love to know that. Did you notice a difference in your cravings? Did you notice a real shift in your body? We are going to dive into mindset and emotions now, and I'm going to show you why, like I said, your weight isn't just the problem, but also how your nervous system and your emotions impacting you. This is the deep work. So when I first started coaching clients, which I talked about a few days ago, the first few years, I could really help women get results. But what would happen is they kept coming back to me for like meal plans, which is why I don't like meal plans. I think you take away all your power when you're going to somebody for a meal plan. Why not figure out how to do your own meal plan? Why not work out what foods suit you best? That's so much more powerful. That's really great. That's going to provide a lot of like clarity and ease. Imagine every day just knowing what you're going to eat or having a fair idea, or of having a little bit of it prepared so you get home from a busy day and it's all there. That's really cool. Survival mode versus healing mode. Your nervous system has 2 states, and these 2 states are survival mode or healing mode. When you're in that survival mode, your body is going to be flooded with cortisol. It's designed to help you survive a threat. But for most of us, that threat is our daily life. And I do joke about this, but I tell my clients, I got my email inbox amount up so ridiculous that every time I opened my emails, I would feel myself having the reaction. I could feel myself, I could feel it in my body. When you notice that your heart rate changes, you notice maybe some heat in your body, or you go clammy or tingly, and you find yourself having this body and mind reaction, okay? That's like a flooding that your body has, okay? And it's designed that way because your body perceives a threat. It perceives a threat. Now, what's happening is a lot of the times our body is perceiving a threat, thinking that we're having that threat all the time, thinking that threat is every single little thing, when in fact, it's actually not. It's just day-to-day living. But the way we're perceiving things, the way we're looking at things, or because your body has been in survival mode for a long time. It's really common for women to be in survival mode for a long time because that's the way we're designed. We are nurturers. We are there to look after everybody else. That's what we do best. But is it the best thing for us? Probably not. Not all the time. We're really good at doing everything for everyone else. And so we get into that burnout feeling, but it's really that survival mode. When we want to lose weight, we need to know when we're in survival mode and how to shift into healing mode. Because in survival mode, our body can't drop the weight. When our body feels that we are under threat, our body can't drop weight. Now, you may have already heard of rest and digest. When we're in survival mode, our body isn't in rest and digest. What our body does is, in survival mode, it's ready to fight or flight. So it doesn't want to spend its time and energy on breaking down food or working on the immune system and all that sort of stuff. It is literally there to help you survive. What can you do to support yourself? You want to be looking at noticing when you're in survival mode and then supporting yourself to get to healing mode. That is going to make a huge impact, not just on losing weight, but the amount of energy that you feel in a day. Because a lot of times women feel drained and tired. And I hear a lot, oh, I'm in perimenopause, I'm in menopause. Yes, that can definitely be contributing. But if you are feeling stressed all the time, if your cortisol is high, that you're going to see that in your body being in that survivor mode. Because your body is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you alive. Doesn't mean that's what we want to be feeling on a day-to-day basis. We want to start looking at how we can get ourselves out of survival mode and into healing mode. I know for me personally, when my kids were young, I have 3 kids. My third one's about to become an adult, and I became a nana last year, which is so exciting. So I have a newborn granddaughter. This is me many years ago when 3 kids were all going to school. I would wake up in the morning. I would have stayed up late because I would have decided that was my time because the kids were in bed finally. I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to watch TV. Going to eat some of my favorite snacks. Oh, if it's 12 o'clock when I go to bed, and then the alarm goes off and I press snooze and snooze, and then I wake up and it's, oh my God, we're going to be late. So I run around the house yelling at the kids, telling them, hurry up, get up. And my poor kids would be constantly in this, get up, hurry up. And then I would go and have a shower, and usually slam down the coffee, go have a shower, come back, and they were just dragging themselves around because they weren't ready. And my whole nervous system was so activated. It was so activated. I was so highly strung. It didn't take much to set me off. And by the time I dropped them at high school and primary school, I was so wired and I was exhausted. So by the time I got to 10 o'clock in the morning, I wanted my coffee. My body thought that I was in real danger in the mornings. You know what I was doing? I was getting my kids ready for school and taking them to school. But my body thought I was in danger because of the way that I was responding and reacting. And the way I was living was impacting me. It was making me stressed as soon as I woke up. I'd get to 8:30 in the morning and I would be so stressed. I'd ring my husband complaining about how hard it was to get the kids to school because I wasn't addressing any of my stuff. Our body is designed to nurture and look after everybody, but it gets to the point where we do it and we're not looking after ourselves and we're staying stuck in that survival mode. I want to talk about emotional eating. It's something that I did for a really long time. And I think that a lot of us do it without even realizing it. A lot of the food that we're choosing to eat, not every meal, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the snacking or the second servings and stuff. A lot of that is connected to emotions, and it's also connected to our nervous system responses. Have you ever found yourself standing in front of the fridge or maybe in front of the pantry, not because you're hungry, because you actually feel stressed or bored or sad? Yeah, that's emotional eating. And we think it's that we have a lack of willpower. But what is actually happening is our nervous system is in a response to how we feel. Our brain is looking for a quick hit of dopamine to make us feel better. Food is the easiest way to get it. And what happens is it is a temporary fix that keeps us stuck, keeps us overweight, keeps us feeling like there's something wrong with us and in that struggle mode. The other reason why your body wants food is because it's learnt food is your soothing mechanism. Okay? So I want to give you a couple of scenarios so you can understand what I'm talking about and how it works. Look at scenario 1, the work stress cycle, because this used to be me and I did this for a long time. It'd get to 3 o'clock, you've been in back-to-back meetings and your boss just gave you feedback that was really triggering. You feel like unappreciated. You feel like you have just been taken advantage of, and also feel like they've just not recognized all the hard effort that you've been putting in lately. So that feedback, it makes you feel triggered. Okay, it creates a trigger response in you. Your nervous system does the right thing and goes into full survival mode. Your body is then flooded with cortisol. And then your amygdala, or I call it my alarm part of the brain, which is your fear center, it's activated and your brain is screaming, we're under threat, we need to survive. That's what your brain does. It's doing it for you. And then your brain is looking for the fastest way to calm down. Okay, how can it calm down the fastest way? And it knows that sugar and carbs, they generally trigger a dopamine release. And dopamine is going to send the signals that make you feel good. It's your brain's way of self-soothing. Does that make sense? The next thing you do, you find yourself in the lunchroom at work and it's the afternoon and there's chocolates and cake on the table. Or maybe you're at home and you go to the fridge and the pantry, maybe almost robotically, you don't even realize you're doing it. And you're suddenly eating something you didn't even plan to. But understanding that you're not eating because you're hungry, you're eating because your nervous system is dysregulated and your brain is looking for a fix. That food is giving you a temporary hit of dopamine. And you do feel better, but you feel better for a few minutes. And then your blood sugar crashes, your cortisol spikes again, and you're right back where you were feeling before. And a lot of times actually feeling worse. Because most women will, not every woman, but most women will actually feel guilt and shame after. Another scenario I want to give you, one I hear a lot. It's 8 o'clock at night, you've had a really busy day at work, and you actually feel really at capacity. You're aware that you feel really full, like full of the day, full of all the things you've had to do. You feel exhausted, you've had to come home, organize everything, right? And you do feel really exhausted. And you've been on all day, taking care of everyone else or looking after work, dealing with my emails. Maybe it's managing the household. Your nervous system has been in survival mode all day. So you finally sit down on the couch and suddenly you feel the exhaustion, or you feel empty, or you feel overwhelmed, or maybe you feel really numb, like your body is just totally shut down. So you reach for the food. Maybe it's wine and cheese. Maybe it's ice cream. Maybe it's chips. You're not physically hungry, you're emotionally hungry. And your nervous system is so dysregulated that it needs something to soothe, to calm down, and to feel the emotions that it's trying to not feel. Food is the easiest, most accessible way for most women to get that soothing. So you eat. You feel better temporarily. You get that dopamine hit. Your nervous system starts to calm down. But it doesn't last long. Because after you finish the whole bag of chips or the whole block of chocolate and you're questioning yourself and you're trying to understand, how did this happen? I promised myself I wasn't doing this anymore. I was just going to have one row. I wasn't going to eat the whole thing. And you feel guilty and you feel shame and you feel like you have failed. You feel like you just don't lack any willpower. The shame and the guilt, that's part of the cycle. And that shame and guilt can, and a lot of times does, activate another nervous system response. And the cycle continues. And what do? We think our body is broken. We think we just aren't strong enough or we don't have willpower. But our nervous system is doing exactly what it's designed to do, to figure out how to calm down, right? And your nervous system, when it's dysregulated, your brain will always look for the fastest, easiest way to get a dopamine hit. And the food is most accessible option. Like I yesterday felt at capacity and was making dinner and was looking at the food and really noticing like what my thoughts were. I've done so much of this work. I don't get that emotional eating or this sort of, I've had to work at it. But what I did realize is that you can actually convince yourself that you're hungry even if you've just eaten, because your body craves that food. It wants that release. So many clients say to me, Melissa, when I ate it, I actually felt a release. My problem was the release wasn't there for very long. And you know that word release is actually a big thing, because maybe you're in pain and the release is that pain goes away. The pain can be overwhelmed. The pain can be that feeling of hopeless, right? The pain can be that you are just freaking exhausted and can't see light at the end of the tunnel. What we want to do is we want to do something different. And I have really great news. We can work on this. All we need to see is an understanding to start off with. And then once we have an understanding, we can start looking at pattern interrupting. When we interrupt the cycle, we can change it. So instead of you fighting the cravings, you can give your nervous system what it's actually looking for. And what it's looking for is to be able to shift into a different state, for you to be able to know how to calm down. I'm going to teach you a really simple, super quick reset method. It's a way to give your nervous system that soothing without food, okay? It does help us to lose weight, because when you're constantly in survival mode, your body is constantly looking for ways to soothe itself. That means it's going to be craving food. It means that we're going to find ourselves emotionally eating. Maybe it's at work, or maybe it's at home at 8 o'clock at night on the couch. And obviously that's bringing on the weight gain. But if you can learn how to regulate your nervous system, you see a big drop or reduction, or it totally disappears. Those sugar cravings, those impulses to eat, the emotional eating can stop, and the weight starts to come off naturally. That's why I say to you, my clients say, I didn't realize it was going to be this easy. But when you're doing this work, it makes a big difference. When you have this understanding and then you start breaking these cycles. The secret to breaking this cycle is to give your brain what it's actually looking for. And that's a shift in your nervous system. You don't need to fight the craving. You just need to pause, because pausing changes the way your brain reacts, okay? And what your brain does, and then what your nervous system does. And I don't have time to go in this and teach you all this stuff. That's what I do with my clients, so they have a full understanding. But I wanted to give you a method. I was like, I can't go into the depths of this, but I can give you a method. And this is just a simple method. There are lots of methods that are out there that you can learn. I have my own unique methods I teach my clients. Just having a simple method is really going to make a difference. This is what you're going to do. You feel the emotions. So what would really help is if you actually close your eyes right now and just trust the process. I can't see anybody, just so you know. And if you're on Facebook, I can't see you either. So if you're not driving, because don't do this if you're driving, but if you're in any other state, I'd like you to close your eyes and just concentrate on your breathing. This is just a couple of minutes. So you just be present and in the moment. I want you to think about the last time that you emotionally ate, or the last time that you overate or you snacked when you didn't need to. Just go back to that moment. Maybe it was yesterday. You had seconds on your dinner, even though you didn't really need it, or particularly it wasn't necessary. Maybe you were grabbing out like the lollies or the cake, or you went and got the bag of chips. What do you think you were feeling in that moment? What do you think you were feeling in that moment? If you can connect to those feelings, it's really powerful, because it gives us an insight into what you were actually experiencing. I want you to imagine that instead, you just worked on your breathing and connected to what is it that you actually feel in this moment, because you have the power to give yourself what you need. But what we're going to do is just do this first step, and that's just catching our breath and pausing, really creating an awareness that you have within yourself. Before you make that choice of what to eat, you can open your eyes now. If you do your own breath work technique, and I'll pop this in an email today, one of the ones that I use with clients, just one. If you do your own breathwork technique that can take 30 seconds, couple of minutes, whatever suits you and what you can do in your environment, if you can just take a few minutes to breathe, you can calm your nervous system down and you can connect within. When you calm your nervous system down and you connect within, you have the opportunity to feel in control, to not be controlled by your cravings or your impulses. I hear a lot of women say the impulse to eat is so huge. The impulse to snack is so overwhelming. It is, because you've got really good at it, and we can get really good at doing something else. Your worksheet today is a noticing your emotional eating patterns. It gives you an opportunity to really connect to, when do I emotionally eat? What am I feeling in that moment? What are my triggers? A lot of women don't understand what their triggers are. And this isn't about us judging ourselves or that we've done anything wrong. We're coming at this with understanding. What I'd love if you jump in the chat and share what is one trigger you've identified. What is one trigger you've identified today that set you off for that emotional eating? What is that one trigger? How can I help you? And I can help you if you share that. I want you to practice the 2-minute reset the next time you feel a craving. Just practice it. So that's the two things you're doing today, the worksheet and the 2-minute reset. Okay, it's really helpful. Now, I popped this in an email yesterday. I did get a lot of DMs yesterday of women asking about what I do and about my coaching program and how it's unique and personalized for each person. If you want to book in a call with me, I am happy. It is not a sales call. I'm not selling you anything. I'm happy to have a chat and share with you what it is, because I'm really good at noticing people's blind spots. Like some of my clients say, "Are you psychic? How did you know that?" So I'm happy to help you see what that is, if that's something that you want to. And I've only just put this up after I got so many DMs yesterday and I got a couple of emails. So if you want to book it in a chat, please feel free. You totally can. It won't be a sales call. Just share with me what it is that is happening for you, and I can help you unravel it a little bit further. Obviously, because of time and me wanting to really help you every morning, I haven't been able to go deeply into everything. That's what I do with my coaching clients, but I'm helping you understand. And I really hope, and from the chat, it looks like it is happening for you, is that this understanding is really opening up for a lot of you. This understanding of yourself and looking at things as a different point of view, instead of always looking at food as numbers or exercise as slogging it at the gym. There is so much more that's going on. And this understanding, it doesn't just help your weight. And I really want you to understand this. This is not just a weight thing. What we start to see is a real shift in the way we deal with life. It's really impressive when you can see when your boss gives you feedback and you know you would normally be triggered and instead you're regulating yourself in that moment. Wow. You start to feel really in control of your life. You start to notice that in your relationships, you're not reactional. You're not projecting at anybody. You're not having your mood swings or feeling like you want to jump down someone's throat, because you've got tools to be able to support yourself and regulate in those moments, or understand at least what's happening in your nervous system so you can repair any of your reactions to those triggers. I love that work. I was the most reactional person ever before I did this work. I don't even know how people loved me. And I've had to really work on it. But to understand yourself it changes. It makes you really enjoy life. A lot of women want to feel more confidence, and a lot of women want to feel more self-trust. The more you understand yourself, and then taking that a step further to not just understand yourself, but to also be able to feel in control of yourself, it's so empowering. We build confidence and self-trust in ourselves. You have such a different outlook on life. You wake up feeling great, and your weight loss it's just a side effect. So I really hope this has given you some insights into your nervous system today. I really hope that you are feeling a lot more empowered as every day goes on. And I would love to help you and support you even further. If you want to book a call, you totally can. Otherwise, jump in the chat, share what's going on for you. And I will see you 5:30 a.m. Perth time tomorrow for day 4. Don't forget, everything's being emailed out. So if you can't find something, if you're not receiving things, send me a DM through Facebook or send me an email or reach out to me in any capacity you can so I can fix it for you today. And have an amazing Wednesday and day 3 of the weight loss challenge. Thanks, ladies.